like to call this meeting to order of the Jefferson County, Arkansas City Board of Directors. Just a quick reminder, if you would, please silence your cell phones. There are citizens communication cards on the ledge up there. If you wish to fill one of those out, it's not required. You still would be allowed to address the board in your citizens communication time, but it would be helpful to us. You can turn those in to the city clerk, Heather. That would be appreciated. So having said that, we'll all stand. We have board member Stephen Hollybush will give the invocation, and we'll do the pledge of allegiance.
Lord, thank you for the opportunity to gather here in your presence. God, we pray that you would be with us as we go through this board meeting. I pray that you would give us all wisdom to lead and guide the citizens of the city. God, we know that you have a perfect plan and a perfect will, and we pray that everything we do here tonight would honor and glorify you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. So we're at roll call. So Heather, would you call the roll?
Director Harris?
Here.
Director Holbush?
Here.
Director Odom?
Here.
Director Minor?
Here.
Director Peavy?
Here.
Assistant Mayor Teeters?
Here.
Mayor Brown?
Here. All right, at this time we have a couple of presentations tonight. Our first presentation is by the Arkansas Law Enforcement Accreditation Program. Chief Bob Harrison and representative from the Arkansas Association of Chiefs of Police, J.R. Wilson. If you guys would come forward.
Mayor, members of the board, very pleased tonight to have a representative with us from the Arkansas Association of Chiefs of Police from the Accreditation Committee. Chief J.R. Wilson will make that presentation to the board, and when he's through discussing accreditation, he has a presentation that he'd like to give to the city and to the police department. Chief Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor Brown, board members, City Manager Haskin. It's my honor and pleasure to be before you today. My name is J.R. Wilson. I'm the Chief of Police of Hope, Arkansas, and Assistant City Manager for the city. I have to pass on the regrets of the Executive Director of our association who couldn't be here today due to some legislative meetings he had to attend at our Capitol. So you get me. I apologize for that. But I've been heavily involved in our association for numerous years. I'll give you a little background about accreditation, how it was formed, how it all began, and I'm going to extol the virtues of your chief and your local police department. And all the guys that I've met are wonderful guys, and I will tell you, give you some of their accolades and what they've done to deserve this award. I'll start with accreditation. So about 10 years ago, as our Chiefs Association for our state, we began looking at things, and chiefs were asking us, hey, we need model policies, we need constitutional guidance, we need risk management professionals to assist us. Hey, most of our cities don't have full-time city attorneys. Most of us, we can't get through to the people we need. We're not sure if we're getting the right advice. So as an association, we began to look around to try to help our members. And we developed a model policy program. We got in touch with some legal liability risk management companies that work with police departments. We reached out to the Municipal League. We worked together to obtain a particular company that also provides expert constitutional advice to our Municipal League attorneys. And Jack Ryan is one of the leading people of this company, and it's called Legal Liability Risk Management Institute. So about 10 years ago, with the Attorney General's help and some funding through other funding we were able to obtain, we were able to produce high-risk critical task model policies for every police agency in the state of Arkansas at no cost to any city. All of those are well vetted. They've been vetted by not only by this company, but they've been vetted by the Municipal League attorney staff. We put together a committee as these companies would send us certain policies. We'd comb through them, with a fine-tooth comb with our committee, and they had representation from CLEST, CJI, chiefs, sheriffs, again, ARML, and many other agencies were involved in this policy decision-making. And we got them together and we produced what we called the high-risk critical task policies. And we don't try to get involved too much in administrative issues of cities, but it gets into constitutional issues, where you're most at risk when your officers do something, what puts you most at liability risk from a federal constitutional perspective. So those were, we generated about 50 policies, and that's where we started. And then we had the idea, we want to go beyond this. We want to provide some administrative help. And there are kind of two movements afoot in our nation. One, there is CALEA, which is an accrediting agency that's a nationwide accredited agency. They're the largest accrediting agency. They're highly expensive, not very affordable for many police departments. It's very cumbersome, has hundreds of standards. The City of Hope, we were accredited with them for a period of time, but we had to drop out. It just became so cumbersome. But many states, there's about 28 states in our nation that do state accreditation. And they pare these things down. We have like 200 standards roughly. There are professional standards that most police agencies across the nation agree to for professional standards. And that's kind of how this idea was born. So we hooked up with those states. We began to look at various standards. We put together a committee. And so it boils down to that the Arkansas Association of Chiefs of Police appointed a committee called ALEAP, which stands for the Arkansas Arkansas Law Enforcement Accreditation Program. And ALEAP is the acronym we use for it. So we put together these standards and we launched our program probably about 4 years ago. We actually launched our program. Hot Springs was our first city, our test pilot city, and to date we now have 14 agencies in Arkansas that are fully accredited by our association. Our program is again vetted by the Arkansas Municipal League and is encouraged by the Municipal League for cities to participate in. Not only is it, you get all the accreditation things, it's basically free except for the fact of a small nominal fee that every agency pays, but you also have access to all the model policies. We have online constitutional training for every police officer in your city. They can get like 35 hours of constitutional training about some critical task in their job. For example, let's say an officer needs to know what is a consensual contact. We have a 5-minute video on consensual contact. It gives the Supreme Court case that defines what it is, Florida versus Bostic. It gives you the definition the Supreme Court comes up with. And when that officer walks away from that computer within 5 minutes, he has a good understanding now of what is a constitutional contact, how will it be decided if it's a consensual contact or a detention, and he'll walk away with a pretty good understanding. It improves police officer writing. It improves police officer testimony in court. It improves their ability to have confidence in their decision making, and that's what this whole program is about. So what we're here today to talk about, though, is accreditation specifically, and to talk about your police department. After much preparation, and I'm sure anguish, Bob, and a lot of discussion, after years of looking at the things that they've looked at, they have adopted our standards that were produced by our committee and in concert again with 28 other states that are doing this. And they were awarded accreditation at our last convention, and they were recognized by the governor, and they were also recognized by the executive director of our association, which is Gary Sipes, a former chief of police and a very, very good gentleman whose office is in the Municipal League. So with that said, I just want to say thank you to the board for allowing your chief and your police department to participate in this program. Chief Harrison is a personal friend, a colleague of mine. I've been here 16 years. He's been here a lot longer than I have. And when I first came here, I had to rely on some good, sound advice from an Arkansas law enforcement guy, and he helped me through many times. But I think you should be proud of your department. I know you are. And you should be proud of yourselves and proud of your city, and we're certainly proud of your chief. And to say one more thing about accreditation, it's not just for top management. It's a bottom to top program. And what it's meant to do is to ensure that your guys are safe, to ensure that they're following good programs, have good policies in place, and that the administrative arm is not just doing what they want to, they're being reviewed, and it's peer review. So now they've been accredited, and they've had guys come in here auditing what they do. They've been auditing their policies. Are you following your policies? We approve that you're following your policies. They have to generate proofs. And now it won't stop there, because every year from now on, they're going to have to give us analytical reports that we require on issues of safety or issues of force or issues of pursuit. And then every 3 years, they're going to be accredited again by their peers. And we'll have 2 to 3 auditors will come down every 3 years to pour through the files, to look at what they're doing, to make sure that the chief is following the program, and ensuring that up and down the line, everyone is doing what the policies say they are to be doing. And some of these audits involve just an auditor riding with a police officer and saying, hey, what do you know about this? How do you do this to make sure that things are going well? So you should be very proud of your department. I know you are. And without any further comment, Bob, the people you'd like to have here to present this award, I'd be glad to do so.
City manager come down to help accept this award.
Who do you want me to present it to exactly? The mayor? Mayor Brown, on behalf of the Arkansas Association of Chiefs of Police, I'd like to present you this certificate of accreditation for your police department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much. Chief, congratulations to you and your department.
This was a process that took about 18 months. I'd like to give recognition to Captains and Lieutenant Ron Stovall, our former sheriff, helped us out with this program. It took a lot of hands on deck. I'm very proud of the accomplishments that we've made. I think it sets this city in a standard where we don't have to be quite as concerned about lawsuits. When we do, we've got a good city attorney that helps us work through those kind of things. But the process was exhaustive, but it was certainly worthwhile. I certainly appreciate Chief Wilson's advice. We brought him over here many, many times. Look at this, JR, or we're going to pass, or we're going to get through, because these auditors actually ride with the officers, go through almost everything in the agency from A to Z. And we ended up being successful, and I'm certainly proud of it, and proud to come before the board tonight.
Thank you. I think that's worthy of another round of applause. Thank you, Chief Wilson.
Thank you, Chief Harrison. Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
I want just a side note to you that you follow in some humongous footsteps in Hope, because back in the early 60s, my granddaddy was the chief of police at Hope. So he was there for his last year there, I think, was in 1963, but he was the chief of police at Hope back in the day. So, okay, at this time we'll move on with our presentations. We have a presentation by Tracy Lee, the Assistant Public Works Director, with John and Julie Ray Harrison and the Partnerships of the Pathway. Actually, Tyler Richards is going to make the presentation.
Yeah, I'm going to handle this one tonight, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and board members. I want to introduce you tonight, John and Julie Ray Harrison and TJ Davidson with Partnership for the Pathway. I'll let Julie Ray here in a minute explain a little bit about Partnership for the Pathway, but I'll just let you know this organization has been a huge blessing to this city with multiple projects, and we couldn't possibly be more thankful for them. But they're here tonight to tell you a little bit about them and present us with a couple of checks for 2 projects that we have going on, and I'll give you a little bit of background on those projects. The first one is a TAP grant, is the Pinson Street sidewalks that were just finished this last fall. These sidewalks were on Pinson between Arkansas Boulevard and 50th. They went a few blocks down, 42nd and 50th as well. That was a state TAP grant project where the state provided 80% of the cost. The city's match was 20%, and Partnership for the Pathway covered 12% of our match. 12% of the total project, which for that one was $32,242. The second project is going to be upcoming this year. We're in the design phase right now. It's actually going through the state for approvals right now. Design plans are done, so as soon as we get approval from the state, we'll be ready to roll on that. The state also provided 80% of the cost on that project. And Partnership for the Pathway covered 6%, which was $14,443. And I think now I'll let Julie Ray come up and talk to you a little bit.
We're very happy to have the opportunity to come and speak to y'all for just a minute. Partnership for the Pathway is an organization, a nonprofit, all-volunteer organization that was founded 12 years ago. And it is our desire to have a safe pedestrian bicycle trail system within our community, both cities of Texarkana. And one of the ways that we're able to do that is every year we put on a Run the Line half marathon. That is our fundraiser. I should share with you that TJ is the president of the Partnership for the Pathway.
TJ
Davidson, excuse me. And my husband, John Harrison, is on the board, and so am I. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the race because that's where the money comes from. And I'm going to have Johnny show you our medal that we have this year for our runners. We typically have, we started out first year, we were told to expect about 70 runners, and we had 136. Since then, the race has grown. Last year, we had 622 runners participate in the race. They've come from 34 states across the country. We've had one runner from a foreign country. About 30% of the runners are from what we consider a local area. That's a 30-mile radius of Texarkana. 70% of the runners come from further away than that. They stay in our hotels, they eat in our restaurants, they buy gas. And we could not put this race on if we did not have the support of both cities. The streets departments, the police departments, the parks departments, the AMP with Texarkana, Arkansas. This year, we, at the moment, have more runners registered than we've ever had in the past this date. So we're very excited about that and look forward to having them all come and enjoy the race. So is there anything you want to say?
Julie Ray, you want to share the date with that race?
Of course I do. It's February 17th. That's a Sunday. And sometimes people ask, why do we have it on a Sunday? That allows runners to come in from out of town, spend the night with us, run on Sunday, and then because the race is from 7:30 in the morning to 11:30 in the morning, gives them time to get back home to where they are. And I'm very proud to say that we have a history of both mayors firing the starting shotguns, and Mayor Brown has agreed to do that, so we're very excited to have, we'll introduce him and he'll have an opportunity.
Is there any practice involved in that? Or
No, you just point it up in the air and it has blanks in it. Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, let me just say one or two things. The city of Texarkana, Arkansas is fantastic to work with. I don't mean just to praise you guys, but this staff is incredible. Every time we come in, they're smiling. They're glad to see us here. They don't look at it as work. They look at it as an opportunity. And so it's a fantastic working relationship. It's a win-win situation. We realize that. It leverages our dollars and gets a project on the ground. And we love working with it. They make it simple. They don't have a lot of layers, but you can get right to the heart of it and get a project done. And we'd like to see it move a little faster, but that's the way these projects work. You can only get so much money every year and so forth. So it's great working with the staff. They've done great things here, and we hope we can continue to work with them and have some revenue. We found that if you have revenue, you can usually get a project done. So if you walk in with the matching money, it sure helps. So,
Thank you.
TJ, would you like to say anything?
No.
No?
Can I have one comment, please?
Of course.
A lot of us just got back from the AML conference this past week, and certain cities in the state are very, very good about promoting themselves, not just for their citizens, but also through the state. I think this would be a perfect opportunity if you could work with the city and you write it up, let the people in the city write it up, so that it can be presented at the next AML, because I think this is a phenomenal project that's been going on for a number of years, and it needs statewide recognition, not just Texarkana.
Absolutely.
So can we please submit a proposal about this so that we could submit that for next year's? I do believe, y'all help me remember, but I think that the date to open up applications is August of this
We're
year.
actually nominating this project for Texarkana to be a winner
Yeah.
of specific things that go back into the community. So it's probably an excellent opportunity, but we can, Kenny can get some information from the municipal league, and then, just be a matter of sitting down and filling out that application and applying to put your name in the hat to possibly be drawn and recognized.
Right, and recognized at
It'll be
next.
recognized next January at the league convention.
let me mention one thing that we didn't have any clue on. Sometimes things just happen, and you don't really understand them as well as you probably should have on the front end. But we have runners that come from all over the country. One reason they come here is because they can run a half marathon
Yeah, two
in
states.
2 states.
Get
They
double
have a goal
credit.
of running a half in every state. This is a twofer. Last year, or the year before last, we had 2 ladies that were standing there at packet pickup. They wanted to ask questions about the map, where their hotel was, and where they should go eat, and so forth. And they had flown in from New York City. They flew into Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. They got a rental car. They drove up here. They had a hotel room for that night. They asked me where they should go eat, and I said, "What do you want to eat?" And they said, "Italian." I said, "Go to Verona's." And the next morning I saw them. They looked a little weather beaten that next morning. And they said they spent $160 down there at Verona's. And I said, "You're too much."
Yeah, that's a lot of wine. That's a lot of wine.
Did you have to help them across the finish line?
They got right in that car, went right back to the airport.
And, in that you mentioned sort of statewide recognition, I'll share a couple of things with you very quickly. One, this is our 10th year to be in the Arkansas Grand Prix Series. There are only 20 races in the state of Arkansas that are selected. There are only 2 half marathons, and we are one of those. We're proud to do that. This year is the first year of the Natural State Running Series. That is 11 half marathons and marathons, and individuals have the opportunity to participate in those races. We are the very first race in that series, so we're pleased with that. I also want to share with you that a couple of years ago, we were selected as one of the 15 top races in the state of Arkansas. So we'd love to submit a proposal.
Thank you.
We know how to reach you.
That's right.
We know how to reach you.
Yes, we do.
It really takes a village to make this thing happen, and it's y'all are all part of that village.
Yes.
Tyler
Thank you.
has been great to work with, and that staff that keeps coming back time and time again with smiles on their faces and ready to work. So that's what we love to see.
I was on the Nix Creek walking trail today, and you can tell where our guys have already started. If there are a few rough edges and things that need to be repaired, those things are marked and will be, attended to. And it's really a
And the streets
neat,
department.
Thank you.
yeah.
I give them a little heads up that we're getting ready to have this. I want to make sure that we have our house in good order.
Yes.
When people come to town, you hate to have a dirty house when your guests are coming in. And so we do our best to make it look as good as we can, try to fill potholes, and we give the city a list of these things. And by the time we have our meeting, they're done or they're on their list to do that day. It's amazing.
Yes, the race, half marathon's 13.1 miles, and we are able to have 2 of our trails in the community as part of the race. One, the Nix Creek Trail, and the other one, the Philip McDougall Trail in Spring Lake Park. And then just really quickly, I couldn't help but notice
It's on the side.
From the line runner. Very proud to be on it. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, you should leave for church early. The runners are forever crossing some of the streets, so if you want to get to church on time, you should leave
I
early.
list, I'm gonna call all the churches and let them know, put this in the bulletin, so they will start the church a little bit earlier.
Right, in case they see the runners.
Mayor? Yes, sir.
Okay, we just hold them both of them.
No.
We're gonna hold one below the other, maybe.
I think it'll look
How's that?
That's pretty good.
All right, thank you.
Moving right along, we'll go into our consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda consists of the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on January the 7th, adopt a resolution making staff appointments to the Personnel Policy Committee, Media Manager Eric Etheridge, Fire Executive Assistant Marion Holder, City Manager Executive Assistant Linda Matthews, adopt a resolution authorizing the Depository Board to execute the 2019 depository agreement with Commercial National Bank, adopt a resolution approving amending the current continuing disclosure policy, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into agreement with the City of Texarkana, Texas for police CID services, adopt a resolution to accept the 2018 audit engagement letter prepared by the accounting firm of BKD LLP. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Motion to adopt?
Motion to have a second?
Second.
Second by Director
No,
Harris.
I
Okay.
would like to have number 8 taken off.
Okay, Director Harris has asked that number 8 to adopt a resolution to accept the 2018 audit engagement letter prepared by the accounting firm BKD be removed, so it is removed from the consent agenda. So do I hear a motion to approve items 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the consent agenda?
So moved.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Director Odom. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All, likewise, no. The yeses have it. So the consent agenda, with the exception of item number 8, is approved. At this time, we'll open the floor for discussion on adopting a resolution to accept the 2018 audit engagement letter prepared by the accounting firm of BKD. Director Harris?
Yes, I would like to just know how long have they been doing this audit, and what does they currently cost, and also have you engaged any other business as to BKD? And I know the reason why I know why I asked this question, because I know when BKD started doing this audit, and I know the rationale why they started doing it. So that's the reason why I'm asking this question.
In the packets, I believe the current budgeted amount this year for the audit is $94,500. The previous year, Tyronda was $91,000, so that's a small increase over this previous year. And how long have they been conducting the audit of the city?
Yes, sir. Actually, we expected our engagement to come in at $94,500, but it's only actually $91,000, which was a decrease over what we originally proposed in the budget this year for the expense. Also, it's a slight increase of 4.7% from 2017 to 2018. And they've been conducting our audit since year-end 2010.
So
And yes, sir. And in the past, we have put out RFPs for our audit engagement services. We've had minimal response to that. There was a time where we had one other response besides BKD, but it was a lot of obstacles that we had to go through in order for them to conduct our audit.
Have we had any issues with this?
No, sir. We haven't had any issues at all with this company.
All right. Any other discussions pertaining to this item? If not, I would move that we have a motion. I would entertain a motion to approve the adoption of the resolution to engage with accounting firm BKD LLP for this year's audit.
Mayor, with your permission, would the board like to have it read?
Yes.
Request to have it read in abbreviated form.
Whereas the firm BKD LLP has submitted a letter of engagement to conduct annual audits for the City of Texarkana, Arkansas and the Bi-State Justice Center for 2018, and whereas BKD LLP has experience with conducting such audits and similar governmental audits, including audits for other cities within the state of Arkansas and throughout the United States, and whereas $91,000 being the cost of said 2018 audit set forth in the letter of engagement represents a 4.7% increase over the actual incurred like audit expense for the 2017 audit, but a $35,000 increase from the 2017 approved audit expense, and whereas the city manager and staff recommend board approval, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, that the city manager is authorized and directed to enter into a letter of engagement with BKD under the terms set forth above, passed and approved this 22nd day of January 2019.
A motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion? Could you call the roll, please, Heather?
Harris,
Yes.
Hullabush,
Yes.
Odom,
Yes.
Minor,
Yes.
Peavy,
Yes.
Teeters,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes. All right, moving right along, I'm not aware of any items on the regular agenda, so we'll move into the citizens communication time. And just for everyone in attendance and board members, I would like for you to be aware of the citizen communication time is a time set aside specifically for our community members to speak without board comment. Also note for the citizen addressing the board that your comments should be addressed to the presiding officer and to the board as a whole. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak during the citizens communication? Okay. Does anyone else wish to speak? Citizens communication time. Having and hearing none, we're going to move right into, at this time, the board will move into a very brief executive session to consider two commission appointments. Call this meeting back to order. At this time, I would instruct the city attorney to read a resolution on the appointments of these commissions.
Whereas vacancies exist on various boards and commissions, and whereas it is necessary that appointments be made to fill the vacant positions, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, that the following appointments are hereby approved. Historical District Commission, David Jones, 3 years.
Linda Register. Library Board.
Library Board, Linda Register, 6 years. Thank you. Passed and approved this 22nd day of January 2019.
I have entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
Motion to adopt this resolution.
Do I hear a second? Second by Director Odom. Any discussion? If not, Heather, could you call the roll?
Harris,
Abstain.
Hullabush,
Yes.
Odom,
Yes.
Minor,
Yes.
Peavy,
Yes.
Teeters,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes. Resolution is adopted. Okay, is there any other business anyone knows that needs to come before this board? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I have a motion by Director Odom, second by Director Peavy to adjourn. Could you call the roll, please, Heather?
Harris,
Yes.
Hullabush,
Yes.
Odom,
Yes.
Minor,
Yes.
Peavy,
Yes.
Teeters,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes. And we are adjourned.